Hello, hello. Welcome to Twin Flames Between Worlds podcast. My name is Tabitha.
And I'm Liesel.
In this video, we will be going through the map, the world of Erilea in the Throne of Glass universe, or TOG, better known as in the
Tog.
fandom. If you know, you
Duh.
know. It's not as good as ACOTAR, I'll let you know. Like, the acronym itself, like,
Mhm.
ACOTAR is iconic versus people call it Throne of Glass instead of TOG.
The thing with Throne of Glass, I always get it confused with Game of Thrones. Like Got and Tug.
Ah, yeah,
So
I
like
mean,
I see TOG and I think Game of Thrones, even though it's the opposite way.
that's fair. That's fair. So with this world, it's one of those things where it's a little bit more expansive than ACOTAR, but it's not too overwhelming. The first
Mhm.
thing to know about this, and we don't get to see the full map, of course, because this is Sarah, damn you. Right off the bat, there are technically 3 continents in this world. There is Aurelia, which is the one that we're going to be on for at least the first 4 books, in the sense of like it's going to be centered around this, and then it will expand. Can't say
Mhm.
much about that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
That's
But
how it happens in books.
yeah, we're stuck in one place for a little while, and then we expand.
Yeah.
So then the 2 other is the Southern Continent, which is literally just called the Southern Continent.
Mhm.
And then Wendelin. And now, like, later we will understand, like, the people that are on those continents, what makes them different than the people on this world and whatnot. But so far, that's all we know. They're just foreign lands, and this one's, like, where our main story takes place. So, if you can see, if you are reading the book version, if not, if you're an audio person, I'm sorry, look it up on Reddit. The interesting thing about this continent, it's kind of like split literally down the middle. It kind of is like a 4 corners situation going on.
Mhm.
And our main story takes place on the one side of the continent, where there are 5 main territories. There is Terrasen, Otterlin, Melisande, Fenharrow, and Eelway. Now, these are like the 5 territories that were once their own individual territories until we get to know that Otterlin has taken all of them over. So it's all in quote in the Otterlin Empire, even though they're
Mhm.
not their own sanctioned territories.
They're still technically in terms of the land, that's what the territories are called.
They're still split up, but they don't have like their autonomy anymore.
Sad. They've been conquered.
And of course, because like any map, there's, different mountain ranges that we'll learn as we go along. But the big thing that I want to mention, at least for this side, is the main cities and the main forest. So
Mhm.
legit, there is just a big forest, like centered in the eastern side of the continent. And it is called Oakwald Forest.
Mhm.
And it's very interesting because of like, as someone, I don't know if anyone in the comments, please say it, but like, I love geographical politics. And so
Mhm.
anytime there's a river or forest when it comes to warfare, it's like everything's a strategy, everything's like we're putting pieces on a board situation.
I mean, it looks like the only territory that doesn't have a piece of Oakwald in it is Fenharrow.
Right, because Fenharrow's like cut up between the two. The big like capital cities of each territory, Orinth is the capital city of Terrasen. In Otterlin, it is Rifthold, where our main story does take place for at least most of the first couple of books.
Mhm.
The Avery River is pretty big, like by Otterlin, because it's like right
You hear
by.
about that a lot.
Yeah, like it'll be mentioned very, very a lot. And then in, what's kind of sad is like I don't think Melisande actually has a capital. Uh,
No, at least not one that's written on the map.
one that's written and we like it might be mentioned, I don't know, but and then Fenharrow, it's Belhaven, and then in Eelway, it's Benjali. Now, a couple of just 2 other things to mention about this side of the world is that there are 2 slave encampments. Endovier up in the north and Calaculla in the south.
Mhm.
And of course, those are like big slave camps that were erected by Otterlin. which we will talk about later. It's so hard not to talk about the context, but also it's like it's not important to talk about in terms of like the map
I mean, and
situation.
we always reference the map. Like, throughout the entire series, we're always referencing it.
We do. It's very important to figure out where we are. So, I would really suggest having it, even if you're an audio listener. There's also, especially in this first episode that we're going to be going into, the Dead Islands is it's like a little island structure, and it's called Skulls Bay.
Almost like
This,
an archipelago in a way, just with like
right.
a grouping of islands.
It's the only islands we get referenced, really. Um,
It's down kind of in the southeast here, nearby Ben Harrow.
yes. And then really the two other on the western side, there are two main territories. Again, they're not split up into like their own sanctioned off places. They're kind of just overall territory. So at the top in the north, we have the frozen wastes and the western wastes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we'll get a little bit of difference between these two. Like, okay, what really is the difference between the frozen and the western wastes? But
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you it's Witch Kingdom. So it literally says the Witch Kingdom in the
Yeah,
text.
right under it.
I will tell you, when I read this series for the first time and I looked at the map, I was like, wait, the fuck, there's witches in here? I was like
Wait, there's witches? It's not just like fae and fairy and stuff?
where are the witches? Sign me up, I'm ready.
But otherwise,
And
the Western Wastes are just literally waste. Like, it's entirely blank in that area of the map.
which is very interesting because really the only two things that are referenced on this map is a place called Briarcliff, which will be mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a city. And then it's not a city, but there's something up in the top corner that's called Amaroth,
Mm-hmm.
which looking from like it almost looks like a kind of like a Fort Wood, like you know
Mm,
how like Fort Collins is or something like that. It looks kind of
yeah.
Fort like it doesn't look like a town.
Yeah, it's more so like a settlement, a colony, something just like set up there.
It's just funny that it's in the middle of nowhere, and as someone who is very much one of these people who I'm like, that's important. I don't know what it is, but it's important.
As someone, okay, for me, as someone who loves looking at maps as well, I always like looking at like the icons that represent each thing, just because
Yeah,
that helps me tell which are like big cities versus little villages, for example. Or
right.
if there's something on the map that it's like, okay, I don't know what that is, but I see another version of it somewhere else on the map. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
those are connected somehow.
Right. And then in the southern half of this part is called the deserted land, which is literally just desert. Um, they have like a couple things referenced on here: the singing sands, the red desert, the dunes, sort of thing. It's like it's very cool. And also, there's another little settlement at the bottom there called Knoll, very much in a
Mhm.
random spot. Um, I guess the main thing here I would say for this is the silent assassins, which are
Mhm.
going to be mentioned really early on in our season, so I just will mention that. I guess what's to know, I guess, is that the Assassin's Blade kind of gives us a kind of worldview. There's a lot of things referenced, there's a lot of things mentioned. So it's trying to give us kind of a worldview, and then all of a sudden it's going to become really small.
Mhm.
And we're going to be in one place for a little while to kind of like get a feel of, I guess, the politics, the warfare in this land. And I'm very excited. So,
Yeah. And but I just love the fact that we are going to be able to see a bunch of these places. We're not just always stuck in this one place.
versus not being able to see the continent, Sarah, in
Right.
Akatar.
Only hearing about that, but never actually going ourselves.
Except they did go to the lake. I guess I shouldn't bitch too
Yeah.
much.
But only a couple of them.
Anyway.
I mean, when I first saw this map, my first thought was, first of all, Sarah really likes her tall maps. She likes stacking territories on top of each other.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm always a big fan of like looking at the mountain ranges and the rivers, but then also like, or sorry, the forests and the rivers, and then I like looking at the mountain ranges as well because there's so much that could happen with just the terrain, not even considering just like the cities, and
Yeah.
that's where it comes into a lot of geographical politics as well. Okay, well, you know, if you're fighting in the woods, that's different than when you're fighting in the mountains and that sort of stuff. So
Right, right.
I'm really excited to be able to talk about this new world that we're in, that we're starting in now.
I'm so excited to explore the world with you guys. And again, this is an 8-book series, y'all. So we're going to be able to like really hammer in home all these places. So
Yeah,
be ready for that. So
you're stuck with us for 8 more seasons.
8 more seasons. So we'll see you in our first episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.
You left your jacket on my chair, found a movie stub inside, face down ticket to somewhere you forgot I never tried. Funny how you live